So we have a full program. It started out as a 2-day meeting, then a 2.5-day meeting. Sunday is an interesting day, of course, to have a meeting. Workshops normally happen on Sundays, as it would be for some conferences. So we do have a great lineup here for demos and workshop. So for the 3 days, we have a number of great speakers that'll be with us as well, a number of panel sessions. I'm not going to go through the full program here, as we'll see that as we move on, and we're a little short for time. I would like to thank Shaowen Wang and Anand Padman. Sorry, Anand. You know, I had it down this morning. Believe me, I had it down this morning. Padmanabhan. Thank you, Anand, and thank you, Mary Roderick, for all of your help in organization and coordination for the activity this morning. So what I'd like to do is introduce the principal investigator of the CyberGIS project. So without Shaowen, I could probably say we probably wouldn't have as much across the world these days about CyberGIS if it weren't for Shaowen. And Shaowen Wang from the University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign, was probably one of the most gifted junior faculty I had met when I had met him. Not because he was just a great scholar, but the jokes he had for the first presentation that just in line with the presentation, just such a straight face when he did it as well, just outstanding. So without any more, Shaowen?
Well, let's give Tim, Mary, Anand, and the entire organizing committee applause. Thanks very much for coming. Hope your trips coming here are all smooth. It's my great pleasure to kick off this meeting. As Tim was alluded to, we have a great program. I'm gonna have a short introduction about the background of the project, and then I'll transition to the first keynote of this meeting. So Tim set a high expectation up. I do not have a joke to begin with. Yeah, in fact, this is the third time we gathered. I know there are new folks coming. We're not at the first couple of meetings we had. Last year, for those of you who were at Urbana-Champaign, that was the first international conference spinning off this project we organized. That was a bigger crowd, and this year we came back to the project-centric meeting style, and next year we plan to go back to the international conference format. This, again, is what we believe a sustainable momentum. And good morning. And there are links there. You could go back to check out the happenings in the past. As Tim introduced, we have a sizable crowd as part of this project. Luke Asling was somewhere, I saw. Yes, Luke. And Budu was not here. He had some urgent thing back at Oak Ridge National Lab. Tim introduced himself earlier, and then Nancy. Yes. So these are the principal investigators, and Mike Goodchild serving as the chair of the advisory committee, and as mentioned earlier, Anand is the project manager. And we have a number of staff I'm not going to go through, and also industrial partner Steve Cope regularly participates in our fun activities. And 9 institutions involved, 3 international partners. So it's a sizable, interesting crowd. We hand together every week, weekly basis, have conferences to exchange technical ideas. But for this 10 minutes short introduction, in case we have new folks coming to this forum, need some background, this is my elevator speech while it's going backward. So the notion of CyberGIS is really built on the synthesis and integration of advanced computing information and communication technologies through the lens of geo or spatial principles knowledge. Well, of course, you would argue why integration and the synthesis, this is also an idea coming from the NSF cyber infrastructure framework. The idea is in the context of big data fourth paradigm and synthesis of big computation and big data, you really need to pull different knowledge together. And I think CyberGIS is just born in the context of this, I'm hitting always backward. But in the specific realm of geospatial sciences and technologies, as we knew, GIS was invented to be a way of doing digital mapping. But these days, when we look upon GIS, there are increasing purposes of different kinds. We are eager to know not only maps, but also the processes driving changes on the maps, the patterns we see. And of course, the processes leading to more and more spatial temporal representations, but also measurements coming not only just static ways and its space-time. Beyond the mapping these days, when we look to GIS, we want to get help for collaborative problem solving, decision making. These are not usually individual activities, and geo-design, and so forth. This is clearly pushing the change of GIS to the new generation. I think CyberGIS happens to be just one modality responding to this motivation. Oops. So where is the CyberGIS coming from? If you see from the top left, that's more of a computer-centric view to understand how GIS was born, managing the technologies, providing the database and the user interfaces and so forth. Gradually, we were shifting toward web-based, internet-based distributed systems, and CyberGIS is carrying that way forward to put a user in the middle, to put integration and synthesis to be a centerpiece of this system of multiple systems. And the idea is to have complex, evolving advanced technologies really shielded from users and from CyberGIS functions. So as I mentioned, there's really this push and the pull. Push is coming from the top. There's many opportunities of discovery and innovation, pushing the emergence of CyberGIS, and the advanced technologies are evolving very rapidly. That is pushing this to happen. And as you could tell, there are just so many terms and so many concepts in this context, including what I just listed there. Of course, this is not exhaustive, but the idea of CyberGIS is to really understand this ecosystem and what is good for in terms of the discovery and innovation opportunities across many sciences and applications. So back to our project, we do have tangible high-level goals, and we hope to work together to establish this collaborative software framework encompassing many research fields and geo and spatial as some common denominators. And in terms of innovation opportunities, we hope to achieve, by working together, seamless integration of advanced cyber infrastructure, GIS, and spatial analysis and modeling, capable of handling huge volumes of data, complex analysis and visualization required for many challenging applications. And of course, this leading to the capability and support for high performance and collaborative geo problem solving. And from the scientific frontiers of CyberGIS point of view, we hope to gain fundamental understanding of this scalable ecosystem. We hope to see and what is the nature of this ecosystem in terms of the sustainability and the makeup. Specific objectives, and this is tied to the program Tim introduced, particularly today. We have a community engagement component Tim is leading, and that's a big part of our project, is to understand the requirement for leading to what we need to do for CyberGIS, both the science and the technology aspects. And this is also going to help us guide the evaluation of the innovation and the scientific research we need to do in the CyberGIS project. And I listed a URL at the bottom of the page there. That's our year 3 annual report to NSF. It's online, and you could also go to the CyberGIS.org website, and it's right on top of the front page. That tells you what we have done so far, particularly to the goals of year 3, the objectives matching these 6 specific objectives in the project to the current accomplishments we have made and some future plans. So with that, I want to wrap up by thanking NSF. It's coming out of the Software Infrastructure for Sustained Innovation program. And maybe time for a few questions, comments. Yeah.
Questions, comments? Actually, I have one to start off with. I usually wait about 5 seconds. Shaowen, could you make this slide set available on the website just for the participants? Because the overall perspective that you provided here, I mean, it's helpful for all of us, actually.
Right.
At a time we might be able to go back to simply because of the objectives that you have listed on one of those slides.
I think Anand, I'll email you the slides, and then Anand could immediately make that available online.
Just as part of the program,
Mhm.
as we go
Yeah,
along, maybe
yeah,
we can
yeah.
post to the program.
I think the plan is all of our slides, as we are making progress
Yeah.
through the program, will be made available if there's no any particular objection to that sharing. But I do not anticipate.
And videos.
And videos.
Showing live, delivering.
Yeah, well, I think this is going to be online starting from 10:30, based on the new adjusted plan. So we will have virtual participants through the remote connection made available by the great effort of Tim and Mary and the
hope
colleagues.
that we're going to have virtual participants.
Someday.
The invitation's been sent out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Questions, comments for Shaowen?
Shaowen, could you just briefly review the timetable, where we are in the project
Okay.
in September 19th, 2013?
We are close to the end of our year 3. Our project anniversary is October 1st every year. This is a 5-year project. So we have 2 more years in the project. As usual, for a project like this, we started slow in terms of spending. So we are a little behind in that regard. My expectation, this is probably going to go longer than 5 years in terms of spending the support.
And to add to that as well, Mike, the idea here of providing some input from this group as to what we might be doing in year 4 is a major part of what we would like to.
And year 6.
Yeah. And years 10, if possible. So, Shaowen, we'll give you the opportunity to change that one to 2.
Oh,
2010.
oh, 2010, yeah. Apologize.
People will get it though. Any other comments, questions for Shaowen?
That's why the question came up. All right.